Hello, hello my lovely friends, and welcome back to the channel. Today I wanted to do a video with you about inks and printing digitals. So my friend Kathy asked me some questions about ink usage and those sorts of things. So I thought it would be a good idea just to come back on and answer them for her and make a little video, because I'm sure if she has these questions, a few of you will also have these same questions. I always like to say there's no such thing as a bad question, because you don't know what you don't know. So if you're new to printing digitals, congratulations and welcome. I love digitals. It's very dangerous. It is very dangerous. Sorry, my stool is okay, stuck. So anyways, Kathy had some questions about ink usage in particular and how much ink. So this is where digitals get a really bad rap, because, and I was guilty of this at the beginning too. Like I was like, you know, it's going to cost me a fortune in ink. It's going to take way too much ink, and ink can be very expensive. But it's, you know, it, like I said in my other video, it's a trade-off, right? Because for me, I don't have access to all kinds of fantastic ephemera because I live in Canada and our craft stores are a very sad state of affairs. And we don't have Hobby Lobby and we don't have a Joann's. And, you know, just the stuff at Michael's isn't always that great as far as selection goes. And it's just, so much of it is just not really my jam. So digitals really fill that hole where I can have access to a lot of different things, styles. It's just the whole world is available through digitals. And so I decided that it was a trade-off for me, because I can't get the kinds of things that I would like to use, or the different kinds of ephemera or interesting vintage looking things, or if there's artists, digital artists that I really want to support and buy from. It's like anything, right? You sort of figure off the trade-offs and what you're going to spend your money on and what you're not going to spend your money on. So for me, once I really saw the kind of benefits that digitals were going to bring to my crafting process, not so much my bank account, but certainly my crafting, then I was like, this is a no-brainer for me. I'm just going to spend the money on ink. And I don't really go through that much ink. Now, I'm going to show you as I'm talking. First of all, my printer. My printer is a Canon. Ooh, I have to look at the number. Canon 1X6820. And the reason that I purchased this particular Canon model was because it came with very high reviews for printing cardstock. And I print a ton of cardstock. And I've printed thick cardstock on this printer and have had no problems. Never once have I had any cardstock jam. And I've printed lighter cardstock. It's all been great. Now, I used to have another printer, a Brother printer, and it did not like the cardstock at all. And that was super frustrating for me. So that's why I ended up getting the one that I got. I have to say that it's a little bit cumbersome. As you can see, it's pretty big. It doesn't have a scanner on it, which was fine with me because the scanner on my old Brother printer worked fine. So I don't even know if this Canon printer is still available. But if you are looking into going down this delicious, wonderful world rabbit hole of digitals, I highly recommend that you look for a printer that is very good at printing different sorts of paper. And the other thing about this printer that I have to say is that it was recommended because it was good on ink. And I do think on some level that printers today are better on ink than they were even 5 or 6 years ago. So the inks the cartridges that I get, I just get them off of Amazon. Sorry, my fingers are a mess. I was doing some cleaning, and I was cleaning rubber stamps earlier, so don't look at my fingers. Yeah, sorry, where was I? Colors. These are the cartridges that I get. And I looked it up last night, and I ordered, so I believe when I order these, I get them two yellow, two pink, two blue. And I ordered those at the beginning on February 1st. And then I reordered again around April the 14th, 15th, 16th. And what you'll find is you will tend to go through one color, depending on what you're printing, more than another. So I am constantly running out of yellow. And I'll show you again here while I'm talking a quick little screenshot of when everybody knows, you know, when your printer sends you that little message and it's like, oh, you're running out of whatever. But I find that it's very, very, very rare that I run out of, like if I were to put all new fresh cartridges in my printer today, the one that I would have to replace the soonest is the yellow, and that's always the way. And so when I ordered more ink in April, it was because I needed more yellow. And I'm also going to show you this bin that I have here full of cartridges of color ink that I haven't used yet, because I'm constantly reordering to get the yellow, and sadly I can't just order yellow. Now, just between you and me, I don't use official Canon printer ink. I buy this off of Amazon from a really nice man somewhere in Toronto. And it works great. But I do know that there are people out there that have printers, Hewlett-Packard printers and a couple other brother printers, that if you don't buy their ink, it won't work. Like your printer just won't print. I had a friend who told me that, and I was like, oh, the horror. That you couldn't buy knockoff printer ink. Ugh. Anyways, that's a conversation for another day. But when I'm buying ink fairly regularly, but I'm not buying ink every week. And the other thing Kathy had asked me was, you know, how much do you get out of a set of cartridges? I mean, it depends what you're printing, obviously. I mean, there's a lot of variables to this, so I can't really say if you bought these sort of cartridges, you know, you're going to get 200 sheets. I mean, some of the printer companies can tell you that based on black ink. You know, if you're just printing text with no photos, no images, you know, you can get a better idea. But it ranges depending on, listen, for me, it even depends what season I'm printing. I know that I go through a lot of yellow because I tend to like vintage type images. Now, if I was printing a lot of black and white, like here, I got some stuff, like if I was printing something like this all day, every day, then yeah, I'm going to go through a lot more black ink. Obviously, right? I mean, it's a no-brainer. And blues. So during the Halloween season, I probably tend to go through more black, blue, and yellow because I'm printing out lovely, spooky, creepy things like this. In the springtime, I tend to go through more yellow and pinks, right? And it also depends, you know, how much ink is involved in what you're printing. Like, I know these things sound, on their own, it seems like it should be sort of obvious. But when you're really trying to decide whether or not this is something that, you know, you really want to get into, yeah, you just need to look at it and think, well, what is it I'm going to be printing? Like, for example, if you're somebody, like here, I have these writing paper, these digital letter writing paper sheets that I have in my Etsy store. These are going to take way less ink because you're just printing. I mean, you're printing off the lines. I don't know, hopefully can you see that? You're printing off the lines, but you're really just either, you know, you're just printing off a little sort of piece in the corner. Whereas if you're printing something like this digital wallpaper, obviously this is going to take way more ink. This sort of thing, I printed out, this was for Halloween, or not Halloween, ooh, Freudian slip. Valentine's Day pen pal stuff, right? And so I was printing these double-sided, they were going to be folders. This would take a lot more ink. Obviously, to get these sort of rich red tones, you're going to need a lot of yellow. And to do this, you're going to need a lot of yellow. This kind of thing, you know, if your favorite color is blue, all you're going to do is print blue stuff, then you're probably going to go through more blue ink. You know, these sorts of things I really love to do or print out. So yeah, I'm going to go through a lot more yellow. The other thing is, I find that I do go through a little bit more ink if I'm doing a lot of printing on cardstock, right? So these are the little hankies that I scanned in that I have in my Etsy shop as well. But this is kind of a good example of something that you could print out, but that doesn't require a ton of ink, right? But I do think it soaks in a little bit more with the cardstock than it does with regular copy paper. And again, I would say 90% of what I print on regular paper. Just ordinary, everyday copy paper. If you're going to use matte or glossy photo paper, I have to be honest with you, I don't have much experience with glossy photo paper in my Canon inkjet because it smudges, and that's not good. That's just not good. But I have done quite a bit with matte photo paper, and it's a beautiful, you get beautiful results. So I won't go into it here because I don't want to confuse you. I really just wanted to stick with ink. But as you go through and you play with your printer settings a little bit more, and you're playing with different kinds of paper, there's different settings that you can use on your printer to get better quality prints. So the better quality print, obviously, you're going to use more ink. So when you use, let's say, when you go in and you tell your computer that you're going to be printing on matte photo paper and you want to use best quality, I mean, you can tell right away because it takes longer for the thing to print. So instead of it being like, do-do-do-do-do-do-do, right? It's like, so yeah, you're going to use more ink. But again, if you have some, maybe, I don't know, maybe you have some photos, maybe you have some of your own artwork that you've done, and you want to print out really nice quality, you're not going to be printing all day, every day. So I really think that while it's good to be mindful of how much you might want to budget for ink in, say, 6 months, it's not like you're going to be spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on ink, even if you print quite a bit. So when I bought the ink in February and then I bought the ink in the middle of April, I had printed out well over 100 sheets of stuff for myself. I'd printed out sheets for journals that I made to sell. I printed out the covers for journals that I made to put it in my Etsy shop. I printed out things to rip apart and collage. So, and I think that these sorts of inks that I buy with tax, it's under $30 for the 6 cartridges. So, I think that was I think that was it. I just really wanted to touch on those things in particular for those of you that are just sort of starting out or trying to decide if this is something that you want to do. Again, I talk about this in my video about why digitals are so great. There's just so much available out there. It's crazy what you can, I mean, and again, it's not just digital paper or like, I mean, I love to buy digital writing paper for my pen pals. And you know what the other great thing about it is? You buy the file, you can print it off once, you can print it off 500 times because you've bought the file. So I love the fact that I can buy writing paper, and, you know, if I have a new pen pal and I know she's really into, I don't know, let's say rabbits, I don't know, for lack of anything else, you know, I can go into Etsy and buy, for less than $4, I can buy some really fun rabbit writing paper, and then I can print it off, and, you know, Bob's your uncle. You've got some fun writing paper for your fun pen pal who likes rabbits. So those sorts of things. You can buy labels, tickets, tags. If you're not into journaling but you do a lot of pen paling, there's a ton of things that you can use and print off to decorate envelopes, to decorate Happy Mail. You can print off envelopes. The only thing that I will say about all of this that is a bit of a bummer on some level is that it's not waterproof, right? So that's really the only downside, is not waterproof. If you're using it for something other than just writing letters, journaling, crafts, those sorts of things. You can easily print these sorts of things off though and use them with Mod Podge and glue. So I'm going to leave it there for now. I hope that there's some helpful information in this video for you. Again, I'm biased. I'm going to tell you to do it, to just do it, to go find some really fun digitals on Etsy, print them off, have fun, and enjoy the fact that it's instantaneous. You don't have to wait for it to come in the mail, which I know we're not supposed to, you know, we're supposed to delay some gratification on some levels, but this, you know, if you're crafting at 3 o'clock in the morning because you can't sleep and you want to use some fun digitals, you download it and you print it off, and there you go. You've got new paper at 3 o'clock in the morning. So, okay, thanks everybody for watching. Any questions, like I said, leave them down below. If I can't find the answer for you, I will certainly try and see if I can help you find the answer that you need. Thank you very much for your very kind comments. Thank you for your support. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And yeah, until next time, what are we going to do next time? I'm going to do some stamping videos, and I have a couple other things in mind. So have a look for those. Have a great weekend, everybody, and I'll talk to you soon. Mwah. Bye. Take care. Oh, speak kindly to yourselves. Happy crafting. Happy journaling. Mwah. Bye.